Alright, I'm back with the final movie in the Wishmaster film franchise. Wishmaster 4, The Prophecy Fulfilled, made back in 2002. Um, this movie was not that bad. I kind of liked this movie actually. Compared to Wishmaster 3, after watching that going into the fourth movie, I thought, man, this is going to be horrible. But I was pleasantly surprised with this one. It wasn't that bad at all, and I kind of enjoyed it. There is a lot of goofiness to it. Some of the wishes suck, but because of the story, you wanted to see what happened. So I thought it made for a pretty good movie. Basically, you have this couple, Sam and Lisa. The movie opens, and they just bought themselves a new house, and they're happy, they're in love. Then it cuts to 3 years later, and apparently Sam had a horrible motorcycle accident and he's now crippled. He's confined to a wheelchair. So Lisa and Sam are in the middle of a lawsuit to get him some money because of the accident, and Lisa goes to meet the lawyer, who is a man named Steven, and he has kind of a crush on Lisa. He gives her this antique box, and when he goes to kiss her, she freaks out and drops the box, and it breaks open, and inside is a red gem. And she picks it up and looks at it, and she basically awakens the Djinn. So he says, I can have this appraised for us, and she says it's all right, I don't want it, and she feels uncomfortable, so she just goes home. Well, Steven takes the gem and he puts it in his safe, and then he hears this voice. And at first he thinks it's like the other lawyers, like some goons or something, trying to intimidate him so that he'll settle for the case. And he pulls out a gun and he says, I wish you would just show me who you are. And the Djinn comes through and basically just kills Steven right there, cuts his face off, puts his face on, and takes Steven's form. Um, like Wishmaster 3, they kind of skip over the part. Like in Wishmaster 1 and 2, when the Djinn is released, he has this tiny form. And he doesn't turn into a human shape until he's granted a person a wish, which is usually the person he kills first. But after Wishmaster 2, they kind of just dropped that altogether. Wishmaster 3, he just walks out and he's shaped like a human, and Wishmaster 4, he does the same thing. So that kind of sucks. But then again, like I said in Wishmaster 3, the gem's shaped a little different, and it's a different Wishmaster, so you can kind of believe that some of them have different features and stuff like that. So I guess that part's okay. This guy, the guy playing Wishmaster in this movie, is the same Wishmaster from the third movie. However, it's only the same Wishmaster when he's in makeup. The guy who plays him in human form in the third and fourth movie, both completely different actors. But as far as the Wishmaster in the makeup and the Djinn form, it's the same guy as Wishmaster 3. So he takes Steven's form and he goes, and the next morning he takes Lisa and asks her to come with him to the office, and he's acting like he's the same guy, the lawyer, just doing the same stuff he would do every day, trying to work on their case. And he takes Lisa with him to his office, and he asks her what she would want if she could have a wish. And she just wishes that this entire settlement would be over. So the Wishmaster says, done. And he gets on the phone and he calls the other lawyers and asks them to settle. And he he actually causes the other lawyer to start like stabbing himself in the face. It's really weird. And it's over the phone. So the other lawyer, it cuts to him and you see him and he says, I know you wouldn't cut your nose off to spite your face or something like that. And he cuts his own nose off and then he stabs himself in the eye and his face. And he finally signs the settlement papers and he faxes it over, and they get the settlement of $10 million. And then the other lawyer, a gun appears on his desk and he shoots himself in the head. So he has the other lawyer killed right after he signs the settlement papers. So they get $10 million, and Lisa takes the good news home to Sam, who is just, he's in a bad mood. He thinks that she's only been with him to get her half of the money, and now that she has it, she can leave. She doesn't have to take care of him anymore. And he just feels that he hasn't been able to have sex with her anymore since he's crippled. And he's afraid that she's been having sex with Steven all this time and just really wants to leave him, and she's just pretending to stay. So he's always kind of like being a dick to her and stuff. But she gets the money and or gives him the money, and she says, it's not about the money. I honestly love you, and I've stayed because I care about you. And then Steven calls, and he offers to take them both out to dinner. Well, Sam doesn't want to go, so Lisa goes to dinner alone with Steven. And at dinner, she wishes that Sam could walk again. So it cuts back to the house, and Sam is starting to feel some movement in his legs, and he fights through the pain and everything, and he's in horrible pain. He's taking all these pills, but he's actually able to walk. And then they do this other weird wish while they're at the restaurant where it shows a couple kissing, and the waitress says, "I wish someone would kiss me like that." And the Wishmaster says, he like circles around his wine glass, and then all these men and a couple girls come up and start kissing her. And that's it. It doesn't show her die. It doesn't show anything. And it's really bizarre. And it's funny because the guys all come up and kiss her on the lips, but when the two girls come up, they just kiss her on the cheek. I just thought that was funny, but yeah, it was kind of just a bizarre wish. Nobody dies, and it just cuts to a different scene after that. So back at the house, Lisa walks in the door and sees Sam standing up, and he's all smiling and happy, but then Steven comes in, and he gets, angry again, and Steven's like all happy that he can walk. So he's kind of just, every time something good happens and he looks like he might turn around, Steven shows up and just makes him angry all over again. So Lisa goes over to meet with Steven again, and it's about Sam. He goes out to a strip club. He can walk again. He gets a haircut, and he just says he's going to a strip club. So she goes to hang out with Steven, and just to get, I guess, some comfort or something. And Steven tries to kiss her, but she pulls away, and he offers to get her some water. And while he's getting her some water, she says, "I wish I could just love you for who you truly are." And we see the Djinn in the kitchen. He says, "The third wish. She's made the third wish." And he starts to freak out, and he goes back to her, and he says, I think you should leave. So she leaves the house, and we see this portal open up with like 3 other Djinn inside it. And they say, "What are you waiting for? That's the third wish." And he says, "Yes, but she can never truly love me if she sees me like this. If she knows who I truly am, she can't love me. So we're in a paradox because it's a wish that only she can grant." So that's the dilemma. So he's kind of stuck between, he can't grant a wish that only she can grant because she has to love him. And the other Djinn say that the hunter has awakened. And you see this statue holding a sword, and it turns into a man with wings, and I guess it's an angel. And they said that the hunter is now awakened, and Steven says, "I'll handle it." Basically the hunter is sent to kill the waker before the third wish can be granted. Now, I thought it made more sense if it was there to kill a Djinn who refused to grant a wish. But no, it's there to kill the waker before the Djinn can grant the third wish. So it really doesn't make any sense. If this guy's entire purpose in life is to prevent a Djinn from granting, or the waker from getting her third wish granted, then these guys must never get any work. Because I can't see this ever happening in any other circumstance. So, in the meantime, Steven is trying to find out about human love. He goes to see one of Lisa's friends that she works with, and her friend says it's all about killer sex, and I wish I could have killer sex. So, the Djinn, Steven says, "Done," and she starts to like slam up against the wall like she's having sex, and she moves up the wall, and That's really it. You don't really see anything else happen. Steven goes to a strip club and he's talking to the bartender about what it would take to get with a woman like the stripper dancing on a stage. And he says, money. And he says, what would you do to get with a woman like that? And he says, I'd sell my soul to be a pimple on her ass. So all of a sudden the bartender disappears and the Djinn just says, enjoy the view, brother. And that's it. You don't see him. I was afraid it would show this guy in pimple form with really bad special effects on her ass or something like that, but it doesn't happen. So that's really it. Like I said before, the wishes in this movie, they're kind of lame, but you just got to go with it. So Steven gets closer to the stripper and he's kind of talking, or not talking to her, but she's dancing for him. And she reaches her hand out and he touches her hand and the bouncer comes up and says, come on, buddy, you can't do that. So he removes Steven from the club. Steven throws a drink on him on the way out. So the bartender throws him in the alley and he starts to just beat the crap out of him. And the Wishmaster keeps trying to get him to make a wish, saying, do you wish me to leave? Do you wish for this? And it just makes the bouncer angrier and angrier and it just beats him up more and more. Until finally he says, I wish you would put up a better fight. So Steven takes on his Djinn form, and the bouncer's all freaking out, and Steven breaks, or the Djinn breaks one of the bouncer's hands. He burns the other hand. Then he bends down this metal pole and stabs him onto it, and then he just tosses him in the dumpster. And while he's doing that, the portal with the other Djinn creatures opens up and they say, we're getting impatient. Hurry up and grant the third wish so we can come to Earth. And he says, I'll handle this. Just stop interfering. So we see that the hunter has now, arrived and he's looking for Lisa. And he goes to where she works and one of her coworkers is there, and he takes this big sword that he's carrying and just cuts her head off. And then he escapes into an alley. And Steven goes back into the strip club and invites Sam. Well, Sam shows up at the strip club, and he tries to convince him that him and Lisa are together and that they've had sex, and Sam gets really mad, but he just leaves. So eventually Lisa is driving home and she sees the hunter in the road, and he stops her car and she takes off running into the woods. And while she's in the woods, he's kind of swinging the sword trying to attack her, but Steven shows up and he starts to fight with the angel, the hunter. And he tells Lisa to go ahead and go back to the house and he'll meet up with her later. And he fights with the hunter and he eventually takes on his Djinn form, and the hunter is, trying to kill him with a sword, and he takes the gemstone and he turns it into a sword. So they have this really, it was decent sword battle, and he gets the better of the hunter and he kills the hunter. And at this point the Djinn is actually starting to feel real emotions for Lisa. So he drives up to the house and he's got some flowers and wine for her, and Lisa finds a note that's from Sam that says he's leaving her. So she's all upset. She opens the door. Steven says the police took care of that crazy guy, and he offers, her some wine and flowers, and they eventually have sex together. And after they've had sex, he asks her if she truly loves him for who he really is. And she looks at him weird, and he asks her again, and then Lisa just kind of freaks out and goes upstairs. And at this point, the Djinn in the other dimension or portal or wherever it is, they start to just destroy the house. They said they're tired of waiting. They start to destroy the house. They're reaching through the walls and trying to grab her, and she's just going crazy, running all through the house. And the Djinn appears in front of her, and he explains what's going on, and he says, I have real feelings for you, and if, I want to know if love is truly blind. And he shows her his true form as the Djinn. And of course she just freaks out and takes off. He tells her that he really wrote the letter, but if she will accept him for who he is and love him as the Djinn, then she can rule the earth with him. And he tells her all these great things he can give her, and power and money and all this, but she still refuses. Sam comes home and tries to save her. He shoots the Djinn, but it does nothing, of course, and he wishes that he had a way to kill him. So the Djinn gives Sam a sword, and it's so heavy he can barely lift it up. And he tries to swing it, but the Djinn just takes it from him and stabs Sam through the stomach. So Sam is on the ground, and the Djinn is trying one more time to try and convince Lisa to love him. And she says, you need to be Sam. She sees Sam is still alive, and she's trying to buy him some time. So she tells the Djinn to turn into Sam, and he does, which I don't get, because he's telling her he can take any form she desires. He can be Steven, he can be Sam, but then why did he have to remove Steven's face? If he can just turn into Sam anyway, without removing Sam's face, why did he have to remove Steven's face? So that part's kind of another plot hole, but eventually Sam gets up and he motions to Lisa to push the Djinn onto the sword that's sticking out of his back. She does. The Djinn disappears and dies, and Lisa is over Sam's body and he dies, and it's just a really depressing ending. And Lisa just runs out of the house and looks up at the sky, and that's it. That's the end of the movie. So it was a pretty good story. I was entertained through the whole thing, and on the series as a whole, it starts off good with Wishmaster 1. Wishmaster 2, they add some new rules, like he needs 1,001 souls to power up the gemstone, which 3 and 4 never need. 3 and 4, it's all about just getting the Waker to make 3 wishes. And in the meantime, if someone gets in their way, they just kill them with a wish. So they kind of change the rules up every once in a while with these movies, but like I said, for the most part, they're fun movies, they're good movies, except for 3. 3 is just crap. But 1, 2, and 4 are good movies and they're fun movies, and I really like the Wishmaster character, and I like the mythology of the character, and I would like to see a 5th Wishmaster if, maybe one day we'll get to see that. But I hope you guys like this series of movie reviews of me doing Wishmaster, and I hope you can subscribe to my channel because I'll be doing a lot more old horror movie reviews. I'm thinking of doing Hellraiser, Leprechaun, Puppet Master, Children of the Corn, any of those. If there's any series you guys would like to see, let me know, and I will try to find the movies and do every single one of them. So leave me some comments, like the videos, and subscribe to my channel, and thanks for listening. Bye.